Welcome to Digital Learning Program. Topic Reproduction. In this lesson we will be discussing asexual reproduction in plants. SLOs, student learning outcomes for this topic, define asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction in plants. Explain the role of mitosis and meiosis in reproduction. Describe advantages and disadvantages of asexual reproduction. Describe importance of asexual reproduction. Exemplify natural and artificial methods of reproduction in plants, that is vegetative reproduction, Parthenocarpi, Apomaxis. And the last SLO is describe the process of fruit ripening in plants. First SLO. Define asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is the type of reproduction that does not involve the fusion of gametes or change in the number of chromosomes. However, sexual reproduction is a type of reproduction that involves the fusion of gametes, that is the male and female gametes, sperm and egg cell. Asexual reproduction involves a single parent. However, sexual reproduction involves two parents. Asexual reproduction produces individuals that are genetically identical to the parent. However, sexual reproduction produces individuals that are genetically not identical to the parent. They are genetically different. Role of mitosis and meiosis in reproduction. You have already an idea about mitosis and meiosis. So what is the role of mitosis and meiosis in reproduction? Mitosis is the mechanism of asexual reproduction. However, meiosis makes the cells needed for sexual reproduction, the cells that are the gametes, male and female gametes. Second is mitosis replicates non-sex cells needed for growth and development. Non-sex cells means the body cells, the cells of other body parts other than the sexual parts. However, meiosis occurs only in sex cells and produces gametes. So the process of mitosis is required for both asexual and sexual reproduction, but the process of meiosis is required only for sexual reproduction. So these were the differences, and through this difference you have an idea that what is the role of mitosis and meiosis. So you you must have noticed that meiosis is only involved during sexual reproduction. However, mitosis is required both in sexual and asexual reproduction, because in sexual reproduction, after fertilization, the process of mitosis is required for the growth and development of the zygote. Next, advantages and disadvantages of asexual reproduction. So what are the advantages of asexual reproduction? It is the rapid way of reproduction. The population can increase rapidly when the conditions are favorable. And here only one parent is needed. It is more time and energy efficient as there is no need to find a mate. It is useful in increasing the number of plants, as we are discussing reproduction in plants. So it's useful in increasing the number of plants, and beneficial characters can be preserved through artificial methods such as grafting and cutting. We will be discussing in the later slides. Now, disadvantages of asexual reproduction. It does not lead to genetic variation in a population, because genetic variation is important for the diversity and for the evolution and for adaptation. So this is one of the disadvantages, that it does not lead to genetic variation in a population. The species may only be suited to one habitat. This is another disadvantage, that the species cannot cope up, or they cannot adjust to new environment. Diseases may affect all the individuals in a population. For example, a particular species specific disease is there, is going to affect all the individuals because they have same genetic material. So this is another disadvantage. Species cannot adapt to new environment or less resistant to environmental stress because there is no genetic variation, so they cannot adapt to new environment, or the resistance to environmental stress is low. Chances of new species or diversity becomes less because there isn't any genetic diversity, genetic variation, so this is another disadvantage. Now, importance of asexual reproduction. Uh, Importance means advantages and disadvantages, both they fall under the command word of importance. So this is already discussed in the advantages and disadvantages. So here is a brief summary or revision of the importance. Asexual reproduction allows the plants to reproduce very quickly. This is the importance. This means the parent plant will be competing with a great number of offsprings for the same nutrients, sunlight and space. So this is a disadvantage. This often places a strain on the plants as well as the environment. So of course, if asexual reproduction is the fastest way of reproduction, so if it is fast, it means number of species are going to increase, the number of offspring is greater. So when there are large number of plants, so there is a competition among the individuals, and they will be competing for nutrients, they will be competing for sunlight, they will be competing for the space. So this is the disadvantage. Then another advantage of asexual reproduction is that the resulting plant will reach maturity faster. So it will get mature fast as compared to a seedling. For example, if you are placing a seed in the soil, it will get large amount of time to germinate. After germinate, it is fragile, it can be damaged by environmental conditions. But asexual reproduction can take the plant, which is a new plant that arises from the adult plant, it is strong as compared to a seedling. A seedling is very fragile, but a product of asexual reproduction that is strong and it can cope up with the environmental stress. Next is natural and artificial methods of reproduction in plants. So the first method of asexual reproduction in plants is vegetative reproduction. What does it mean? Vegetative reproduction is that new plants arise from non-reproductive parts. Non-reproductive parts of the plants are root, stem, leaves. So if the plant has the ability to grow from the roots or from the stem or from the leaves, it is called vegetative reproduction. It can take place naturally as well as artificially. We will discuss natural methods first and then we will come to the artificial methods. Natural methods of vegetative reproduction are, first one is underground stems. Underground stems, we have further categories of underground stems. First one is rhizome. So here I have mentioned birds. So the common thing for all the underground stem is birds. They germinate or new plants arise from the birds. First example is rhizome. Rhizomes are horizontal stems. The common example is ginger. In this slide you can see a ginger, it has certain birds, and from those birds new plant can be produced. So this is a type of asexual reproduction. Next is corms. Corms are short vertical stems. Example, garlic. Here in this picture you can see that there is a garlic and these are known as corms. If you place a corm in a soil, it has the ability to give rise to a new garlic plant. So this is again asexual reproduction. Then bulbs. Bulbs are, the common example is onion. It has thick fleshy leaves in the form of layers. These store food for the developing plant. So what happens in the bulbs? There are certain buds. Here you can see that axillary bud. These buds give rise to new plant. Same is the case when you place an onion in the ground, it has the ability to give rise to a new plant. So this is again asexual reproduction. Next is tubers. Tubers are large underground stems, and the common example is potato. In this picture you can see there is a potato. It has again buds which we call eyes. So these eyes, they can give rise to a new plant. So this is again asexual reproduction. So these were types of underground stems: rhizomes, corms, bulbs, tubers. Second type of vegetative reproduction is suckers. Suckers are lateral stems close to the ground, arise from the bud at the base of the parent plant. Here in this picture you can see there is a berry. It has like stem. It has roots, and the roots the lateral stems arise from the root, and these stems are underground stems. They grow close to the ground, and at some distance they come up above the ground and they give rise to a new plant. So this is again vegetative reproduction. They grow underground and at some distance they turn up into a new plant. So examples are mint, raspberry, strawberry, cherry, apple, etc. You have noticed that a cherry plant and apple plant, they have small plants around the parent plant. Those small plants are the result of suckers. So what is the artificial method of vegetative reproduction? Cutting and grafting. Cutting is you cut a small piece of plant, and if that cut piece of the plant is taken off and if it is placed in a suitable environment, it can give rise to a new plant. The common example is rose plants. In rose, we usually cut a part of the stem and we place in a soil or in a suitable environment. It can give rise to a new plant. Second example is grafting. In the grafting, what we do, we actually cut a part of one plant and we graft it on the stem of another plant. So this has the ability to grow. So grafting can be it can be done within the same species, or it can be done within a species which have some resembling mechanism, such as, for example, you can cut part of the apricot plant and you can graft it on the almond plant. So it can, on a single parent plant, there you can find two variety of fruits. So this is grafting. This is artificial method of vegetative reproduction. Second type of asexual reproduction is Parthenocarpi. Parthenocarpi is development of fruit without fertilization. They are also known as virgin fruits. The fruit resembles a normally produced fruit, but it is seedless. The result of Parthenocarpi is a fruit without seed. So natural examples of Parthenocarpi: banana, that is the common example, that you have seen that bananas, they don't have any seed. Then variety of pineapples, not all the pineapples but few of the pineapples, they are result of Parthenocarpi. Then some of the grapes, some oranges, and some varieties of tomatoes are there in the natural examples. Artificial examples, like artificially we can induce Parthenocarpi in tomatoes, grapes, pineapples, oranges, watermelons. In this picture you can see the watermelon without seed. So how easy it is to eat without the seeds. So this is one of the benefits of Parthenocarpi. Last type of asexual reproduction in plants is Apomaxis. Apomaxis is unlike Parthenocarpi, it is formation of seed without fertilization. Seed is formed but fertilization does not occur. So what does it mean? If there is no fertilization and seed is produced, so the developing or the plant which is going to develop from that seed is going to resemble the parent plant, because it is result of asexual reproduction. Here you can see the embryo in the seed is produced asexually from the parent plant without the need of for male fertilization. So the resulting seed germinates into a plant that develops as a maternal clone. What does that mean? It is identical to the parent plant. So the common example is dandelion. You must have seen this plant, dandelion. So it has the seeds which are result of asexual reproduction. Moving on, the last topic of this lesson is fruit ripening. So the process of fruit ripening is quite interesting. How it although there is a particular season for the ripening of fruits in the particular plant species, but the mechanism is same for all these fruits to ripe. Fruit ripening is actually accompanied by burst of respiratory activities called climacteric. We call them climacteric. So what happens? This is associated with ethylene production that helps in the ripening of fruits. So students, you already have an idea about the plant hormones. Ethylene is one of the hormones which is responsible for fruit ripening. So what happens when ethylene is produced? That is a signal, and it activates different enzymes in the plant, which results or which helps in the ripening of the fruits. Following is the list of enzymes which are involved in fruit ripening. First is amylase. Amylase converts starch, which is usually tasteless carbohydrate, into glucose, which is sweet in taste. So this is the first characteristic of fruit, that unripened fruit is usually tasteless or it is sour, but a ripened fruit, it is sweet in taste. Second is hydrolase. Hydrolases are actually group of enzymes. One of the hydrolase enzyme, it converts chlorophyll, which is green in color, into anthocyanin. Anthocyanin has different colors depending on the fruit. It can be red, it can be orange, it can be yellow, but the purpose of hydrolase is that it is going to convert the chlorophyll. So you must have observed that unripened fruit is usually green in color, and the ripened fruits, they are colorful. The next is pectinase. Pectinase, you better know what is pectin. Pectin is a major composition of plant cell wall. So pectinase enzyme actually break down the pectin, which is the hard substance, into its component which are soft. So unripened fruit is usually hard in texture, and the ripened fruit is comparatively soft. Next enzyme is kinase. Kinase actually, they turn acidic components present in the fruit into neutral substances. That is the reason that certain fruits, they are sour when they are unripened, and they turn sweet or they give their particular taste when they are ripened. Here is the summary of fruit ripening. In this picture you can see the green fruit is actually representing unripened fruit, and the red is representing a ripened fruit. So what are the changes that takes place? The major hormone that is responsible for fruit ripening is ethylene, and this ethylene activates certain enzymes. What kind of changes these enzymes are bringing? The acidic components are converted into neutral substances. Starch is converted into sugar, making tasteless to sweet taste. Hydrolases are going to convert green colored chlorophyll into colored substances, anthocyanin. And pectin, the hard component, the unripened fruit is hard due to pectin, and pectinase is going to convert pectin into less pectin, or that is its components which are soft. And hydrolases actually, they convert, here you can see, they convert the chlorophyll as well as here they convert the chlorophyll into anthocyanin, as well as they convert large organic compounds into aromatic compounds. Means they have a aroma, they have a certain smell, a good smell. Every fruit has a particular smell, so that is also due to these hydrolysis enzymes. So this was all about today's lesson. Hope you understood the topics.